What's up, A to Z Sports live on a Friday. Gonna have a big time show talking about big time money because Trevor Lawrence just got big time money from the Jacksonville Jaguars, becoming the now highest paid quarterback in the NFL. We will discuss what this means for Will Levis and the door that opens for Will Levis to earn about a $300 million contract from the Tennessee Titans. I will explain. That sounds absurd, that crazy, but that is the truth. Will Levis has 2 years to earn a $300 million contract from the Tennessee Titans. So we're going to discuss what this means and really how you guys feel about the Jags paying Trevor Lawrence a boatload of money as well. And then we'll talk about what Will Levis has to do over the next 2 football seasons to get that $300 million deal on that. And we'll actually talk about it. And Jeff, yes, Levis actually got to perform to get $300 million. Yeah, thank you, Jeff, for that brilliant comment early on in the show. It is a Friday, which means we've got Ain't That Good News to wrap up the week for us. So, Jack, welcome in. Let's get this thing off and rolling because we got a lot of money to talk about here.
Oh, we sure do. But don't bury the lead, Austin. I think a lot of people are pretty excited for what's going to happen at the end of the show as well after we get past our Trevor Lawrence, Will Levis discussion.
We'll hit that up later. I'll talk about that right after the official intro.
All right. Y'all are going to stick around for that one. But, hey, if you're watching on Facebook, I encourage you all to like the show. It's going to be a good one. I can promise you that much. Already over 100 people in here. Only 6 likes I'm seeing on my screen. Let's get those numbers up. Drop a thumbs up if you like the show. It helps us grow. It helps us reach new audience members. It helps us take the temperature of the Titans fan base. Those are our goals every morning with you guys in here. The chat's going to be on fire today like they've been all week. I've got a great feeling about that. Next, share the show if you're watching on Facebook. Sharing is caring. We want you to share it to all of your Titans Facebook groups. That also helps A to Z grow, and that's great for the company. If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to tap that bell icon at the top of your screen and turn those notifications on so you get an update every time A to Z Sports goes live. Finally, if you're watching on Twitch, text that Twitch link around your Titans text groups. If you got a buddy sitting in the cubicle at the office, looks a little bored, looks a little sleepy, bring him on in here. We'll wake him up, and he's not going to want to miss what happens at the end of this show. So with all that being said, Austin, let's get the show on the road.
Yep, let's do it officially. Welcome into A to Z Sports, powered as always by the BetMGM app. I'm Austin Stanley. He is Jack Gentry of the Tight End Podcast, and we are Nashville's on-demand sports talk network, going live weekday mornings at 8 Central Time on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Links to the show segment by segment on our Twitter X timeline. Also hit us up on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads for more great Titans content. We got to thank our sponsors because they make it happen for us, and they help out all of you, like Wilson County Hyundai. Make them a part of your new car buying process. Go see them in Lebanon or check them out online at wilsoncountyhyundai.com. The Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care, and Farm Bureau Health Plans. Get better with Farm Bureau Health Plans. That's a better health plan for you for less money. And get a quote today by using our link, fbhp.com/ATOZ. So, Jack, you've teased it enough. And Denise says, finally a good bucket challenge. Denise said it is easy for you to say that it is finally a good bucket challenge because I am not excited about this magic bucket challenge. My stomach is already churning in a bad way because I'd forgotten about what I had to do at the end of the show until I pop open and I see here on the YouTube waiting room chat of people saying, it's got to be real mayonnaise, Austin. It's got to be real mayonnaise. And I see that. Jared says Miracle Whip is trash. Rooney, real mayonnaise, Austin. And so I remembered that, yes, I have to have a spoonful of mayonnaise at the end of the show. I had it sitting in front of me. I had the spoon and paper towel and water right here. And before we went live, I said, Jack, I need to go put this back in the fridge because I don't want this sitting out here in my room temp office for an hour before taking a spoonful of Hellman's real mayonnaise. So I put it back in the fridge. I will go grab it upon that time, so it'll go down as easy as it possibly can. But yes, my stomach does not feel good.
Yeah, I can't imagine why it would. A spoonful of mayonnaise on its own is no good. We've got tips coming in, though, Austin. Maybe it'll make things easier for you. Trey says,
Tips, I would prefer super chat tips, not like advice. I would write tips, like cash. That would be more.
Hey, why not both? Why not both? A little pepper on top, perhaps. What do you think about that?
I can do that.
All right. All right. Any mayo tips you guys have, throw them in the chat. We'll try and get to them before Austin has to face the spoonful of mayonnaise. It's going to be exciting for me mostly. We're all going to get in here. We may get a little nauseous watching it, but man, I can't wait. I'm sorry, but I just can't wait.
It's not going to be fun. Anyway, all right, let's get to this because we are now discussing the massive contract that Trevor Lawrence got from the Jacksonville Jaguars last night. Here it is, and that is from Adam Schefter. Jags and Trevor Lawrence reach agreement on a 5-year, $275 million extension, including $200 million guaranteed, $142 million guaranteed at signing. That's per source from Adam Schefter. Lawrence gets paid by the Jags, and this makes him now the highest paid quarterback in the NFL when it comes to average annual value. You see that $55 million per year right there with Joe Burrow, above Jared Goff, who got paid earlier this offseason on average of 53. The guys that got big money last year, Justin Herbert, Lamar Jackson, and Jalen Hurts. A couple years ago, it was Kyler Murray and Deshaun Watson's turn. Kirk Cousins got his deal this year as a 35-year-old veteran, I believe. And then Patrick Mahomes, just the 3-time Super Bowl champion and the best player on the planet Earth currently, comes in at the 10th highest paid quarterback in the NFL. So, Jack, my goodness. I mean, this is wild. Trevor Lawrence, 3 years in the NFL as a starter for the Jags and gets the most money of any quarterback on average annual value, along with Joe Burrow, who Joe Burrow had his way with Trevor Lawrence, I guess, in that championship game back in the day in college. But my goodness, that's a lot of money right there.
Oh, hell yeah, it is. And if you're a Titans fan, I tweeted yesterday, Titans fans everywhere are rejoicing. Trevor Lawrence, look, I get it. You know, he gives you a chance. He gives you a chance to win the division. He gives you a chance to make the playoffs. He gives you a chance to win playoff games. But in 2 of the 3 years he's been in the NFL, he's been below average. I mean, he's coming off a season where he threw 21 touchdowns and 14 interceptions. And now you go out and make him the highest paid quarterback in NFL history. Like, those two things don't seem to align. But again, it's the price of doing business these days. If you have a quarterback who you feel like gives you a chance to get in the dance, then you're probably going to end up paying him a whole heck of a lot of money before he proves that he's worth it, right? I think the Jaguars here are paying for what Lawrence will be able to do, or could be able to do, I should say, versus what he has done up to this point. A lot of teams, you know, they'll pay guys based on what they've already accomplished. The Jags, it feels like they're kind of projecting Lawrence's career out over the next 5 years, saying, you know what? I believe he's going to take steps forward, even though he lost Ridley, even though he lost his offensive coordinator. So it's going to be another difficult season for Trevor Lawrence in Jacksonville, but they did draft Brian Thomas. They brought in Gabe Davis. If that really moves the needle a whole bunch, in my opinion, it doesn't. But the Jaguars went out, locked up Trevor Lawrence for the next 5 years. And if you're the Titans, if you're the Colts, if you're the Texans, I think you're not super upset about this move.
Now, so there's some comments I want to get to here. Nate Spurner says, good deal for the Jags. The Jags pay Lawrence $1. Head and Shoulders pays the rest of the $274.9999 million right there for that endorsement deal. Just Smash is already talking about how long before Mac Jones takes over, 1 to 2 years. Titans Kyle says, thank you, T-Law, for handcuffing the Jags for the next few years. And then I did see this. Jeff, who is Big Ten Jeff because of his Ohio State fandom, but also a Colts fan, make sense, who lives in Orlando near Jacksonville, says Lawrence gets a mega deal. Justin Fields traded for a 6th-round pick. They pretty much have the same stats. Make it make sense. Now, do they pretty much have the same stats?
I'd have to look, but I could guarantee you Justin Fields doesn't have a season where he threw 25 touchdowns and 8 picks like Lawrence did 2 years ago. Yeah. And I'll tell you another prerequisite.
Not even
Justin
close.
Fields doesn't have. He doesn't have a playoff win.
Yeah, let me go ahead and just debunk. If you talk about bias, you want to talk about bias. Yes, Justin Fields and Trevor Lawrence have the same stats. If you think 11,700 passing yards is the same as 6,600 passing yards, and if you think 58 touchdowns is the same as 40 touchdowns, if you think 17 touchdowns as a career high is the same as 25 touchdowns passing as a career high, and if you think 2,500 yards passing and 4,100 yards passing is the same, then yes, Justin Fields and Trevor Lawrence have the same stats. But no, Jeff, they don't have the same stats. Not even close, but continue to doing your math on whatever calculator that you have.
Damn, mic drop, fact checked right there. He says Fields also missed games. Well, Jeff, those are baked into the stats. Those are you're not going to be able to throw extra passing yards, extra touchdowns, less interceptions on Fields' resume because he missed games. He missed games. That's a knock on Fields, and that's why that's part of the reason why he got traded for his 6th-round picks. Now a backup in the NFL behind Russell Wilson.
Is Florida Man still a thing on Twitter? Because Florida Man has terrible math on Friday morning. Like, good Lord, dude. Like, that is not at all the same stats.
It's a warm-up take right there. We're just getting warmed up today.
Okay, so if you're the Jags, I think you're saying this is worth it because Trevor Lawrence threw for 25 touchdowns and 8 interceptions, 4,100 yards, and with a quarterback rating of 95 and won a playoff game in his 2nd year in the NFL. In his 3rd year in the NFL, he had multiple injuries that slowed him down. In his 1st year in the NFL, he had the disaster that is Big Ten Jeff's, hero in Urban Meyer, right? So, like, that is, if you're the Jags, you're saying, let's look at year 2 when he had everything go right with Doug Peterson and not necessarily as much year 3 because he had injuries and definitely not year 1 because Urban Meyer was kicking and cussing out kickers. So I think that is, if you're the Jags, that's what you're selling. But let's play our own game with this because we want to ask this question that we like to have fun with. What is one word to describe the Jags giving Trevor Lawrence a $275 million contract? What is one word to describe the Jags giving Trevor Lawrence a $275 million contract? We'll get to all of your one words here in a second, but first I want to tell you guys all about our friends at Holiday World Splash and Safari. It is that time because it is deep summer now. School is out and family fun is just a couple hours away north of us in Nashville at Santa Claus, Indiana, with Holiday World and Splash and Safari. Top ranking roller coasters, brand new rides in the nation's first launched water coaster at Splash and Safari. Get the summer started with the best savings online at holidayworld.com, where it's there for the whole family. Their holiday themed theme park in Santa Claus, Indiana. It's a great spot. Nashville, not too far away. So holidayworld.com. Go enjoy their 40-plus coasters and brand new ride, Good Gravy. And there's always free parking, free soft drinks, and free sunscreen at holidayworld.com.
BetMGM.com. There's a ton of stuff going on right now. NHL Stanley Cup. Game 3 wrapped up yesterday. Both these series, the NBA Finals and Stanley Cup, 3-0. I'm a little disappointed by it. But have no fear. The College World Series is here. Starts today. So if you're a Vols fan or you have a hunch about one of these 8 baseball teams left in the game, download BetMGM and use our bonus code when you sign up, A to Z Sports. You'll get up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if your first bet misses. They've got your back, and it's all easy to use. So if you haven't used a sportsbook app before, BetMGM is the perfect place to start. They make it very easy with their layout and their interface. It's a great way to get started, and there's no better way to get started than with A to Z Sports as your bonus code when you sign up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if your first bet misses.
All right, let's get to the chat, Jack. There's a lot of comments there that I'm seeing on Facebook and YouTube. Make sure you hit that like button, like the show, please like the show. Rooney has a bunch of typos here that I'm not really, or I'm sorry, King VC has a bunch of typos here. I'm not sure. He just says like the show. So I believe 200 is the goal for today combined between Facebook and YouTube. So make sure you hit that like button on Facebook and on YouTube. Jack, we're asking the comment for the chat for comments. One word to describe the Jags giving Trevor Lawrence $275 million in a contract extension. What are you seeing from the chat today?
Let's start on Twitch, where Jay says mediocre. Jeff Rubel says hilarious. Funny from Eric. Handcuffed from Mason. Early. Overpaid. Redundant. Dumb. Overpay. We've got standard. Expected. NFL. Insane. Sheesh from Darius. Panicked. It does feel like this was a bit of a panic. I don't know that Trevor Lawrence really had him like that. I don't know if there was a whole lot of leverage that Lawrence had after the season, after the way he finished up. I'll get to that in a second.
That's a good question. What is the leverage?
Because the Jaguars started the season 8-3, if you don't remember.
Yeah.
8-3. And they did not make the playoffs. That's a worse collapse than the Titans had the year before. 8-3, didn't make the playoffs. Let's pay Trevor Lawrence. Now's the time we got to pay Trevor Lawrence. Why? What's the rush? Erroneous. Chump change. Interesting. Highest paid quarterback in NFL history. I don't know if that's chump change. Jag, as in just a guy. Overrated. Happy. Nauseating. Reactive. That's a good word. Foolishness. Ignorant. Dumb. Erroneous on all counts from Josh. Tannehill. Overrated. Mediocre. Incompetent. Featherbrained. Nice, Curtis. Mistake. Desperate. Overpay. Jaguars. That's a good one to end on. Austin, my one word is going to be trapped. I think the Jaguars are now trapped because you give Trevor Lawrence all this money, and it's a guy that even in his lone playoff win threw 4 picks in that game.
Right.
I mean, there was nothing. There was no outside pressure from the NFL world that says, "Hey, man, you got to pay Trevor Lawrence now. He's earned it. He's coming off a year where you have to pay him." He's really not. He's coming off a year where he threw 21 touchdowns to 14 picks. Like that's not the way. That does not demand a contract of this magnitude. And then you bring up how Trevor Lawrence really lost his last 5 starts in the NFL last year. Remember that Jags win over Carolina was a game that BGA legend CJ Beathard started in. So he's coming off 5 straight losses to end the year with a season that he just had. I don't understand why they didn't wait another year. You can pick up his 5th-year option and then extend him after a good season this year. But even if you do pay him this year, why do you make him the highest paid quarterback in the game?
So I think to answer the question on why do the Jags pay him this year, because I think this year is as cheap as it's going to be, most likely, right? Because we know what the rate and how these quarterback contracts continue to inflate, where Jared Goff's getting 53 per year. Now, Jared Goff is 30 years old. And Trevor Lawrence is right there in his prime, 2nd deal. This is Jared Goff's 3rd deal, technically, for him. But, Joe Burrow got his deal. All of these quarterbacks are getting their contracts before their 4th year. That's how it's happening, because as rookies with this current rookie structure of contracts, you are extension eligible after year 3, before year 4. If you're a 1st-round pick, you have that 5th-year option, But what they're actually doing is this is a 5-year extension. So what I believe, this contract does not actually kick in until 2026 is my understanding, because he's got the 4th year of his deal that he's about to go into. He's got the 5th-year option they've already agreed upon. And then he's getting a signing bonus now for this contract. But year 1 of the 5-year extension is 3 seasons away. That's insane, right? That is crazy to think about.
It is, but just because everyone's paying their quarterback after 3 seasons doesn't mean it's the old saying, if your friends jump off a bridge, will you jump off a bridge? The Jags jumped off the London Bridge with this contract. You can pay Trevor Lawrence, but why in the hell would you pay him as much as Joe Burrow's getting paid? Right? I mean, I understand the market changes every year.
I'm with you on that. It's
a little too much money.
That's
Darius,
the crazy thing is, he's under contract now until he's 31 years old. So, and you're going ahead and getting off-season 2024 price for 2026 base salary. So that's why they're paying him now, because if they wait to pay him another year, the 1st year of the extension still starts in 2026, but now you're having to pay another year of NFL inflation. And so, like, it is the smart thing to pay him this offseason and to have that contract this offseason. Because you beat Tua's contract. And I don't know who's a better quarterback, Tua or Trevor. There's a lot of Spider-Man memes going on there with what they've done. But you beat that contract. And so, but I agree with you on why did they make him even with Joe Burrow? That's what I don't understand. What leverage did Trevor Lawrence have to be equal to Joe Burrow in the highest paid quarterbacks in the NFL? I'll throw up the graphic again. This is from CBS Sports. I grabbed it this morning after the update of Lawrence. Look at the differences across the board. Like starts, sure, 50 to 52, same stuff, right? Record 20 and 30, 29 and 22 and 1, tie for Burrow. 5 and 2 in the playoffs for Joe Burrow, 1 and 1 in the playoffs for Lawrence. And you just mentioned Jackie threw 4 picks in the first half of that playoff win. Quarterback rating, a difference of 13 points. Touchdown to INT ratio. Look at that. Just 2 more starts for Joe Burrow, yet he's got nearly, what is that math? Nearly 39 more touchdowns and just 2 less interceptions. And he's been to a Super Bowl. Why, what in the world has Trevor Lawrence done to be equal to Joe Burrow? That is where I don't think the Jags make any sense to me in this negotiation. It was the right move to pay him now, but why make him Burrow money? What was your one word again that I wanted? Because I'm going to reset to get to
I think the Jags have trapped themselves.
My one word is bamboozled. They bamboozled themselves because they didn't need to fork up this money.
Yeah, they fleeced themselves. They fleeced themselves. I
don't get it.
Darius brings up a good point. The highest paid quarterback in the NFL isn't even the best quarterback in his division. I'll take it a step further. In 2 years, Trevor Lawrence, there is a chance that Trevor Lawrence is the worst quarterback in his division. If Will Levis can take a big step and Anthony Richardson can stay healthy and prove it, again, both of these things are ifs. But there's a non-0% chance that Trevor Lawrence is the worst quarterback in this division in 2 years. And now you're looking at a guy who's got $275 million under his belt. That's where you are if you're the Jags. And that's not a comfortable place. And when you're competing in a division that all 3 of those teams I just mentioned, the Texans, the Titans, the Colts, they're all getting better. All of those 3 teams are getting better. They've got young quarterbacks. They've got new head coaches that, have done a lot already. I mean, Brian Callahan, we'll see what he does in year 1. But I think that Shane Steichen and DeMeco Ryans both had great seasons last year. Everyone else is on the uptick. It feels like the Jags have just kind of plateaued themselves. They're wearing ankle weights now because of this Trevor Lawrence deal.
Yeah, Will Dodson says Jags doing Jags things. One word is catfished. Catfished by Trevor Lawrence. Look, I think bamboozled is my one word because I don't know, who were they negotiating against? If I were the Jags, why is Trevor Lawrence getting more than Jalen Hurts? Right? The trio of Herbert, Jackson, and Hurts got their contracts last offseason, and I believe they were signed in the chronological order of Hurts first, Lamar second, Herbert third, which is why Herbert's making just $500,000 more per year than Lamar. And you've at least got a Super Bowl champion appearance from Jalen Hurts. Lamar Jackson's has what now? I guess before this was signed, 1 MVP to his resume. Justin Herbert didn't have anything to his resume and is more similar. I guess he's better than what Trevor Lawrence is doing. I think Trevor Lawrence should be closer to Kyler Murray's number below Jalen Hurts because of what he's shown. Similar records, similar numbers, no Super Bowl appearances, no real playoff success, and some inconsistent play. I think that's where Trevor Lawrence should be. And you're talking about a difference of $9 million a year over 5 years. That adds up pretty quickly.
Trevor Lawrence finished 17th in QBR last season. That's behind dudes like Geno Smith, Derek Carr, and Gardner freaking Minshew. Okay, the two guys he's ahead of, Baker Mayfield and Josh Dobbs. What in God's name tells you, if you're the Jaguars, to make this dude the highest paid quarterback in the NFL? It's beyond me. But again, Titans fans, this is a very good thing.
You're saying it's a great thing because
Oh,
the
hell yeah.
Jags are now handcuffed by what the Titan or what they've done here with Trevor Lawrence. That's
No
where you're
question
at.
about it. No question about it. And they're tied to him for the next 5 years. The guy's proven nothing at this point.
All right, Jack, I want to get to the Will Levis side of this conversation. I'm going to tell you why Will Levis has 2 seasons to earn a $300 million contract extension from the Tennessee Titans. I'll say it one more time. Why Will Levis has 2 seasons to earn a $300 million contract extension from the Tennessee Titans. That is real. That is the reality of the NFL. I'll tell you why after I tell you guys about our great friends of Farm Bureau Health Plans. You can save a bunch of money on your health coverage with Farm Bureau Health Plans. They can get better rates for you on top of actually having better coverage. FBHP.com/ATOZ is our link for you to get a quote and do that today. They've been doing and serving Tennesseans for over 77 years, helping you out with whatever your health coverage situation is, whether it's you by yourself, a growing family, or maybe you and your spouse have an empty nest and you need that next level of coverage without the big family plan. Farm Bureau Health Plans will specialize it for that situation and don't make you pay more than what you need to. So don't pay out of pocket for going to the dentist. Don't pay out of pocket for your contacts or any other vision coverage needs. Go to Farm Bureau Health Plans and let them help you save money with better coverage. Once again, our link, FBHP.com/ATOZ.
BetMGM.com, the king of sportsbooks. A lot of action today. I've already told you guys about what's going on in the sports world. New users, download the BetMGM app and plug in our bonus code when you sign up, A to Z Sports, and you'll get up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if your first bet misses. They've got your back. They want you to start off in the green so you're not having to dig yourself out of a hole right after you sign up. It's a great deal going on right now. So if you don't like the sports book that you're on, or you just want to get some skin in the game in general, do it with BetMGM and do it with our bonus code ATOZ Sports.
All right, Jack. So I just said that the reality of the situation is that Will Levis has 2 football seasons to earn a $300 million contract extension from the Tennessee Titans. And that might sound insane. And I did see this super chat from Kane. And I'll get to that as I explain the reality of this. Kane says, talking about a contract for QB who hasn't played his second season yet seems premature. Wait until at least the quarterback is in his draft class gets money before this combo. This topic is wild. I hope Titans topics with more substance. I don't know what that sentence means. But, Kane, here is why this topic isn't wild. Will Levis is going to get paid if he is equal to Trevor Lawrence after his 3rd year. So the Tennessee Titans are doing exactly what the Jacksonville Jaguars just did. They fired the head coach after the rookie quarterback season where you saw promise, but you didn't like the full direction. You hired a new head coach to maximize and complement said quarterback strengths. And now the Titans are hoping Will Levis can do what Trevor Lawrence did in year 2 and make a big significant jump and go to the playoffs, maybe as a wild card team, and see what the hell happens. And like I said earlier, it's not like Trevor Lawrence has been lighting up the NFL on fire because his best season was passing for 4,100 yards, 25 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. That was his playoff season. Then he threw 4 picks in that playoff game. They rallied back and won because Brandon Staley is a terrible head coach of the Chargers, and he got fired too. And then in year 3, Lawrence regressed, less passing yards, had some injuries, less passing touchdowns, more interceptions, and they still gave him the biggest contract, tying Joe Burrow $55 million a year. So this conversation is not premature because we have to look at the long-term plan. That's why Rand Carthon, Brian Callahan, Chad Brinker, Anthony Robinson, and company went out and spent the most money in free agency now to make sure they learn about Will Levis, before they have to fork over $300 million in a contract extension maximum, right? Because here's the reality of this too. Two off seasons ago, Kyler Murray got a 5-year extension for $230 million. 2 off seasons later, Trevor Lawrence gets 5 years for $275 million. If we're being real, the headline says Will Levis to earn a near $300 million deal from the Titans. If we're being real honest, that's short. $300 million is underpaying what the market would be 2 off seasons from now, which is when Will Levis is going to get an extension. Going into the last year of his contract, he's also a 2nd-round pick, which means you don't have a 5th-year option. You've got the 4th year, which is the 2026 season. You're opening a new stadium the following season. So in the summer of 2026, if all goes to Brian Callahan and Rand Carthon's plan, the Tennessee Titans and Amy Adams Strunk are giving Will Levis a $300+ million contract extension. Yeah. That is the reality. Is it not? Like,
no, he's got a chance to make a whole lot of money. And like when you say $300 million, I think you have to include the fact that the percentage of, Will Levis's contract out of the Titans cap space will be around the same of what Lawrence's is to the Jags, just because on how the cap space grows every season in the NFL. Like, so the same percentage of money you're paying your quarterback is going to be around the same, even though the contract is $25 million richer, if that makes sense for people. But another thing you mentioned, the path that the Jags are on is very similar to the path that the Titans just started with Will Levis and Brian Callahan. I mean, you think about the Jags, they brought in Christian Kirk to be their number one. The Titans brought in D-Hop. And both teams brought in Calvin Ridley to be the number 2. So there's a whole lot of commonalities there between those two teams. Now Will Levis just has to go out and perform. And we talk about the expectations. Like, Will Levis is going to have to check a few boxes in order to get to this contract. We all agree that. Like, Will Levis has done nothing yet to prove that he is worth anywhere near that number. But he's got a chance. And I think before the Titans give him that contract, they're going to have to, or Will Levis is going to have to show them a couple of things. And I'll go ahead and post the question now.
Because real quick, because Kane comes back and says, what is the guarantee he is here in 2 years? There's not a guarantee that he's here in 2 years. Kane, show me where I've said, or anybody on A to Z has said, that Will Levis is guaranteed to be here in 2 years or going into the 2026 season. Like, I think he's going to play the next 2 seasons. Like, I think it is dumb as hell. And we talked about this, 2 Mondays ago, Jack, where it was dumb as hell for somebody to say that Dak Prescott could be a Titans quarterback next season in 2025. That's stupid. No, Will Levis is going to be here at least through the 2025 season. So, Kane, what we're discussing here, so you can keep up with everybody, is for 2026 summer, that contract extension is going to be over $300 million for a quarterback. You know who else is going to be in the market for that? CJ Stroud. CJ
Stroud's going to set the market if he keeps playing like the way he did.
The Titans might want to beat that too. Now, I'm not we have to see how the next 2 seasons play out, obviously, right? But Trevor Lawrence has been average. Is he slightly above average as an NFL quarterback?
Average, I think, is probably where you'd put him.
Slightly above average at best, right?
Right.
And he just got the most money
ever.
Right?
Ever, yeah.
They just gave him $200 million of guaranteed money.
So we all agree
he's been average, above average at best. So that's the bar we're at.
So we agree that there is a possibility that Will Levis does get paid a whole lot of money if he performs over the next 2 seasons. Will Levis, again, it's not guaranteed that he's even the starting quarterback in 2 seasons. But if he performs,
I think he's the starting quarterback for 2024 and 2025.
I agree. But there is going to be an opportunity for him to get paid if he performs. But what does he need to do in order to land that contract? That's where we get to our question. So, chat, I'm going to ask this question. What does Will Levis need to show in 2024 and 2025 to earn a big NFL QB contract from the Titans? I'll read it one more time. What does Will Levis need to show in 2024 and 2025 to earn a big NFL QB contract from the Titans. I want you guys all to chime in. We'll get to as many of your comments as possible. But Austin, we both agree over these next 2 seasons, he's got to show something. He's got to take a big step forward. Maybe he doesn't have to win a playoff game, but he's got to come close to, he's got to at least exceed expectations. Because right now the expectations for the Titans are kind of on the floor.
Right. So let's just look at, again, the top 10 paid quarterbacks, because there you see Trevor Lawrence right there tied with Joe Burrow. And we were talking about what does Will Levis have to accomplish after his 3rd season. Trevor Lawrence is under 500 significantly, 1-1 in the playoffs. He's got, less than 2-to-1 TD to INT ratio. And so it's not that high of a bar, that's the crazy thing about it. It's not that high of a bar. And so that's where I think I'm curious to see what people are thinking of. What does he have to do? Because Trevor Lawrence didn't have to do that much.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, that second year, that was his only good season in the NFL. We haven't seen 2 good years from Trevor Lawrence yet. He's only played in the NFL 3 times, but everyone, including the Jacksonville Jaguars fans, would tell you that he has not played up to his draft status. He has not played up to that number 1 overall pick label. And losing the last 5 starts last year, blowing an 8-3 start to the season, all of these things factor into why there is pessimism about Trevor Lawrence in Jacksonville. So we asked that question, Austin. It's time to get to the chat. Let's read some answers here. Let's see. Old Mind Coach says Will Levis just needs to go 20-30 apparently, because that's what Trevor Lawrence did. He needs to win from Roy. Improvement from Hello Ladies. Back-to-back playoff runs at least. Back-to-back playoff runs in the next 2 years. That may be
he doesn't have to do that much. Of a bar. He doesn't have to do that much. That's the crazy thing.
Get to the AFC Championship once. That's another high bar. In 2 seasons, you expect Will Levis to get to the AFC title game.
Let's
Those
go.
Expectations are too high.
Each time we get to an expectation that we think is too high, let's go back to this list. How many of these guys have been to a conference championship game before they got their active contract? Trevor Lawrence, no. Joe Burrow, yes, that's 1-1. Jared Goff, yes, that's 2-1. Justin Herbert, no, 2-2. Then you've got Lamar Jackson. No, Lamar Jackson did not get to an AFC Championship game before getting paid, right?
Right.
So that's 2 yeses, 3 nos. Jalen Hurts, yes. And now you go to Kyler Murray, no. So and then Kirk Cousins is a no, right? Patrick Mahomes is a yes. And Watson has never been to an AFC Championship game?
No, I believe they flamed out in the divisional round against the Chiefs.
Right. So of the top 10 paid quarterbacks, only 40% of them, 4, have made it to a conference championship game before they got paid.
That's staggering. I mean, that's absolutely mind-blowing. But that's, again, the standard that other teams have set around the league.
That is not a box that has to be checked.
Yeah, that's not a requirement. Jeff says a playoff win and to become a top 2 quarterback in the division. Okay,
that's realistic.
That's reasonable. Yeah. Win a Super Bowl. Okay, Darren. 30 touchdowns and 4,000 passing yards. Titans have never had a 4,000 passing yard guy or a quarterback to throw for 4,000 passing yards. A word
that's right.
Accuracy, stay healthy and improve. Make the playoffs, but run the system to a high level. Great answer from Darius. Consistency. Chris Frazier and Denise are on the same page. 4,000 yards and 40 touchdowns. Jesus. 4,000 yards and 30 touchdowns. A playoff win. Leadership and touchdowns. Playoffs. Make the AFC Championship game. Guys, it is not easy to make the AFC Championship game by the 3rd season.
And nor is that up to the quarterback by himself.
Exactly.
Now, however, I will say the Titans are setting themselves up to where if Will Levis goes as planned in 2025, you could be a contender because that's year 2 with the coach, year 2 with Ridley, year 2 with Latham, year 3 with Skoronski, year 2 with Cushenberry. You've got another offseason to go spend money where you've got a cheap quarterback in 2025 and more cap space in 2025 to add to the offensive line, to add pass rushers. You got Cheeto, you got Snead, you got Hooker. Maybe you have Justin Simmons to go along with Jeffrey Simmons. Like, so in 2025, I think it is an opportunity. I think the Titans should be contenders.
Sure. And like, I'm not saying that making the AFC Championship game is impossible. I'm just saying that should not be the expectation level.
It is not a box that has to be checked to get a big contract. As we just mentioned, only
Justin Herbert hadn't won a damn playoff game yet.
Yes.
And he got paid.
Yeah.
So Titans Kyle says at minimum 4,000 yards, 25 touchdowns, 2-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio. Another reasonable expectation right there. Titans have to make the playoffs. Consistency, 4,000 yards, less than 10 interceptions. Playoff spot. 41-50, 28 touchdowns. Let's see. I'll get to one more here, and here it is. Be better than Lawrence. Okay. You'd like him to be better than Lawrence, right? I mean, if he's not better than Lawrence and you pay him $300 million, I think a lot of Titans fans are going to be a little upset. But
all right, so what's be better than Trevor Lawrence? What's be better, right? Because Trevor Lawrence, Will Levis has to throw for combined 50 touchdown passes in the next 2 years to be better than Trevor Lawrence. From that standpoint,
I mean, it's within a shouting distance, right? Like he's
doable.
He's absolutely in line to make that happen. But in my opinion, over the next 2 seasons, these next 2 seasons are going to look very different in terms of expectations for Levis. Remember, this is his first year as the full-time starting quarterback for the Titans, right? And you look around the league, and I understand the national media isn't giving the Titans their due credit for what they did this offseason, but the Titans win totals at 6.5. Like, the Titans are expected to finish last in the AFC South. The football world does not have any expectations for this Titans team in 2024. So what my expectation is for Will Levis, my expectations are a little bit higher than the national media's. I expect Will Levis and the Titans to be in the playoff picture for the last 3 weeks of the season. I expect them to be in the mix, okay? They don't have to make the playoffs this year. If they win 8-9 games, miss out on it, I don't think this season's a failure. I think it's a step in the right direction. That being said, next season, making the playoffs, you've got to get in the dance. Will Levis has to get in the dance. The 4,000 yards, the stats, those are going to come. I do believe Will Levis is going to hit 4,000 yards. The 30 touchdown number is a really tough number to hit, especially for a young quarterback who's still figuring it out. And remember, first year in the system, it's not going to look beautiful this year. It's going to be a little rough around the edges at times. But I think 2-to-1 touchdown interception ratio. Will Levis has 4,000 yards, 25 touchdowns to 11 interceptions. Trevor Lawrence had 25-8 2 years ago. So if Will Levis has a season like that in 2025, then he's going to get paid. He's absolutely going to get paid. So I think making the playoffs, at least a 2-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio, and flirting with that 4,000 yard number gets Will Levis $300 million.
Isn't that crazy? Because I don't think you're like that far off at all. And Just Smash says, and remember, this isn't your daddy's Titans. I expect more passing yards than ever. Welcome to modern NFL, fellas. Absolutely. So I've got Jack, my 3-leg parlay for Will Levis for this season to keep track and then to see what that turns into. But real quick, let me tell you guys about the Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. Whenever you get hurt in life, Bone and Joint Institute. That's where you should go because they are the best at what they do in the entire mid-state, right there in Franklin off of I-65 and Highway 96. They've also got physical therapy clinics around Williamson County and growing. So check them out whenever you, your son or daughter, someone you love, your grandmother, your mom, your dad, your grandfather, people get hurt. It's football, just like football. Injuries in life are about 100% possibility. So go check them out, boneandjointtn.org.
BetMGM.com, the king of sportsbooks. Use our bonus code when you sign up. Download that app. Sign up with BetMGM and sign up with our code A to Z Sports, and you'll get up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if your first bet misses. BetMGM's got your back. They want you to start off in the green. They want you to win early. Okay, maybe not long term, but they're going to help you win early. Okay, with our bonus code A to Z Sports, you'll get up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if your first bet misses. So new users, download the app, sign up with our bonus code, and start reaping the rewards at BetMGM.com.
Visit betmgm.com for terms and conditions. 21 or older. Tennessee only new customer offer. All promotions subject to qualification. Other requirements. First online real money wager. Only rewards issued not with bonus bets that expire in 7 days. And for a problem game of sport called Tennessee Redline 800-889-9789. Okay, so we've got some super chats. Going to get to those here in a little bit, but I have and Daniel says Miss Amy is one of the poorest owners in the NFL. I mean, she is one of the least cash strapped owners in the NFL, but I wouldn't. She's got enough money to get the stadium built. I think that's where the investment has continuously improved for her and the ownership and what they are putting into this. So yes, she doesn't have the cash like others do, but she has shown that she is willing to spend it and liquidate other things to be able to fund big time investments for the Titans, like a brand new stadium and like spending how much money in free agency? Like almost like $250+ million in free agency. So Daniel, like one of the poorest owners in the NFL, just handed out the most guaranteed money in free agency in the NFL this offseason. So I wouldn't think that's going to happen. So
kind of an oxymoron, one of the poorest NFL owners, right?
Yeah, and Billy says Amy's a good owner. Agree. Ever since she's taken over, it's been great. So my parlay for Will Levis in the 2024 season, Jack, for him to keep pace on this path is to play at least 13 games, which means he can miss 4, but no more. At least 13 games. Throw at least 20 touchdown passes and have a 2-to-1 at worst TD to INT ratio. So that is a parlay. So all 3 things have to happen for me to continue for him to go on this path. So at least 13 games played, at least 20 touchdown passes with a 2-to-1 INT ratio. So 20 touchdown passes, 10 picks is the most he can have. If he throws 11 picks, he's got to throw 22 touchdowns. The math continues, right? So he can throw 15 picks, but he's got to throw 30 touchdown passes. So that's where I think if Will Levis can do those 3 things and parlay those 3 things together, I think he is putting himself in the driver's seat to continuing that growth in year 3 in 2025 to get that $300 million extension that could be on the table for his 2026 season.
Roy says he's got to win against the division. And I think all of that's baked into this, right? If the Titans win 6 games this year and 7 games next year, I'm not so sure that Will Levis has done enough. And if they don't win, like Will Levis is probably not checking those boxes you just outlined, right? 13 games, huh? That's the bar. That's a quarter of the season he's going to miss. It's over a month. I'd like to see him out there for at least 14 or 15. Again, it's not in his control. Like he could still play well and go down, right?
Yeah,
and
I
you
just
still feel comfortable with what you saw.
think 13 games is enough of a season to see it, right? And I'm understanding that the Titans still have offensive line issues, all those kind of things. I think I think 13 is the minimum to play.
But you didn't have he must win the division. He must win a playoff game. He must get to the play. You don't have any of those
this year. No, this year.
Okay.
And because it's not like the expectations of the Titans are not to compete for a playoff spot or make the playoffs. I think that could happen. And I think if Will Levis plays 13 or more games, throws 20 more touchdowns, and has 2-to-1 TD-INT ratio, I think the Titans are playing very important football deep into December and maybe into January.
Okay, so let's talk about 2025 then, Austin, because expectations for 2024 and 2025 are totally different.
Yeah, I really like the idea of 50+ touchdowns over the next 2 seasons combined. I think that's a good start, right?
Great start.
I think that would be a number that you feel comfortable with. I think you have to make I think it's really difficult to pay a quarterback a bunch of money without a playoff appearance. I think you have to make the playoffs in one of the next 2 seasons to earn the contract. Let's go back to our top 10 quarterbacks, right? everybody has made the playoffs. So you have to make the playoffs. You don't have to win a playoff game. Justin Herbert, Kyler Murray, and Kirk Cousins. He's only won one playoff game, but he's been paid since. You don't have to win, but I think he has to make the playoffs in one of the next 2 seasons on top of 50 combined touchdown passes in the next 2 seasons. That's kind of where I'm at there.
Steve says 2-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio is going to be tough for Will. It's a new system, and he does have some Favre in him. Will Levis, one of the best traits he has is that he's a gunslinger. So he's got to work on, these turnover-worthy plays. We saw those pop up at different times last season. It hurt the Titans in a couple occasions. But that's going to – I do believe that Brian Callahan's going to coach that out of him. And with the bad offensive line you have in front of him, I think that we're going to see Will Levis throw more short to intermediate passes this season because he doesn't have the time to sit back there and wait for D-Hop or Calvin Ridley to get open down the field. I think that Brian Callahan is going to help him keep the football rather than turn it over because of some of the throws he's going to be asked to make. Brian Callahan's offenses like to run the quick game. Will Levis can do that. So I think that just Brian Callahan's system, even though it is new and even though that Will Levis is a young quarterback, I think that the interceptions, the turnover-worthy plays, I think all of that's going to be cut down based on what I've seen in Cincinnati from Brian Callahan.
For sure. Karen asked the question, 13 games for Levis. Why? Injury? Yeah, I'm saying that it's not fair for anybody to say like, oh, that guy hasn't played a full season. Like 17 games is a lot. And quarterbacks take beatings. Like I think I am giving a little bit of grace for some potential injury, not significant injury, but a potential like another ankle roll, something that might keep you out a week or two. That could happen because go look at the NFL, like guys playing all 17 games is a rarity. So, and Clayton, you're right. It probably soon to be 18 games, but I think if he plays 13 minimum 13 games this season, missing a maximum of 4 due to injury, not talking about being benched, but just due to injury, I think that's enough sample size for Levis to give us this year. I just think expecting somebody to play all 17 is expecting a lot.
I agree, but I am going to push back a little bit. I think part of the Will Levis discussion has something to do with how reckless he plays at times, how reckless he is with his body. Got him in trouble at Kentucky, right? He was always playing with bumps and bruises. So if Will Levis wants to take this next step and wants to be able to fully grow and develop without any, hurdles to leap over or injury issues to deal with, he's got to make sure he stays healthy. He does everything in his power. Like the Titans still have a rookie at left tackle, a second-year left guard, a new center, and 2 starting spots they got to figure out in training camp on the right side. Totally. That is not a complete offensive line by any stretch.
No, and that's why I'm giving the grace of 13 games minimum. That's what I'm saying, right? Because they have that to work through, and they're going to have growing pains. But Jack, how many times did Will Levis get hurt last season by running the football or being reckless with his body?
He got hurt against the Texans.
No, the answer is 0
in the pocket. Yeah,
right in the pocket. So, which is hard to judge the quarterback on completely, and that's why I think when we're talking big picture projections, that's why I'm willing to give some injury grace into there because we don't know what could happen. And I think it's only fair to discuss each injury on that situational basis because, okay, whose fault was it? Did he hurt his shoulder by lowering his shoulder against a defensive back in the open field? That's on Will Levis. Did he hurt something because one of the Titans' young offensive linemen went saloon doors on a great pass rusher? And yeah, that's not Will Levis's fault. So I think that's where I'm just adding that in there for some extra grace.
Okay, that's important. It is a case-by-case situation. Just because Will Levis misses time doesn't always mean it is his fault. However, if he's taking concussions, if he's blowing out his shoulder, trying to get extra yards on like a 3rd and 12, I mean, some of these things, like Will Levis is the ultimate competitor. He'll do anything to win a football game, including put his body in harm's way. That's got to be coached out of him a little bit. And the Titans, need a guy that's going to be stable back there. Like not everybody's Steve McNair. Not everybody's able to overcome these injuries, especially in today's game. So Will Levis is going to have to also take care of himself on top of all of these other boxes that we have Will Levis needing to check.
Yeah. A couple super chats to get here before I have to go, hopefully not throw up at the end of the show today with a little Will Levis tribute. Andre says, the Jags are another example of how one-upping the previous contract is bad business. These teams never learn. This is why so many guys get overpaid. It's bonkers. Andre, I agree. I think talking about the Jags giving Lawrence $275 million when he's been above average at best. Look, he's had moments where he's been really good, but the full resume is above average at best. Andre, I agree completely. There was no reason why the Jags need to pay Trevor Lawrence the same as Joe Burrow.
Right. But I mean, all these teams are going to continue one-upping each other. I mean, when the Titans paid Calvin Ridley this offseason, they got a whole lot of blowback from the football world. But now all these wide receivers are signing deals. They're signing deals. Ridley's contract looks better and better and better and better with every wide receiver that gets paid. So that could happen with Trevor Lawrence. It probably will happen with Trevor Lawrence. It's going to age a whole lot better than it looks right now. But still, there's still the argument to be made. Why in the world does Trevor Lawrence deserve to be the highest paid quarterback in the NFL?
Yeah, and understanding that this contract extension doesn't kick in until 2026. He's got this year's his fourth year, next year's his fifth year option locked in. So he's not being paid on average 55 mil until 2026 season. So you're getting a little bit of that too there from Andre. All right, Darren says, and this is interesting. I don't know how we would find this out, but in the last 10 years, what percentage of the team's salary cap do the Super Bowl quarterbacks average? That would tell a lot about the move. So the hard thing here is like Hurts went to the Super Bowl under a second round rookie contract. You talking about like Super Bowl winning quarterbacks or just Super Bowl quarterbacks in general?
Goff was there on a rookie deal, right?
Goff was there. We didn't win.
Right.
Like obviously Brady won. If you remember the last 10 years, you've got a lot for Brady and a lot for Mahomes to take up like 7 of those 10 years. And Brady was a different circumstance, right? Because he didn't have to break the bank because of his family situation that has changed. And then you've got Mahomes. Yeah. Did Mahomes win one or he just won one under his rookie contract.
Yeah.
I mean, he's won the last 2 years as being
That's
paid.
the thing. If you win a Super Bowl under your rookie contract, you're going to get paid immediately.
So it's a really interesting and Stafford got paid after being paid.
That was after he got paid. Yeah.
Right. All right. I'm going to look this up. Last 10 Super Bowl champions quarterbacks. All right, here. Because this is still
Purdy's gotten there. Rookie deal didn't win.
But we're talking about winning, right? Mm-hmm. So obviously Mahomes, the last 3 quarterbacks, the last 3 Super Bowl champions, Mahomes, and Stafford, very, very highly paid. Then you had Brady with the Bucks, was decently paid. Mahomes rookie contract, Brady with the Patriots at 6. Then you had the Eagles, which was Nick Foles, but Carson Wentz was still on a rookie deal at 7. And then Brady and Peyton Manning are the last for a lot
of money. A lot of money on those guys.
So Brady, Manning, Stafford, Mahomes. That's like 7 of the last 10 Super Bowls that have been paid a lot of money.
But in just getting there, there's been 5 quarterbacks that have been able to get there on rookie deals?
So you've got Purdy,
Goff, Burrow,
Hurts. Hurts.
And Wentz. Wentz/Foles.
Wentz/Foles. Garoppolo was paid when he went with the Niners. Cam and Matt Ryan were paid.
Mm-hmm.
And Russell Wilson, 6.
Yeah, so I mean that's why teams are going for it right now. That's why the Texans went all in last offseason. That's why the Titans had an aggressive offseason this time around. Because there is precedent for quarterbacks on a rookie contract, even though you don't know exactly what they are right now. You go up and you load up your offense, you load up your defense, you bring in talent to your roster, you pay a lot of dudes that have been there and done that, and let your quarterback figure it out. Because if he does figure it out, you're going to hit the ground running. You're going to be ready to compete. You're going to be ready to win playoff games if that quarterback can elevate your team and get you there. Getting there is the hard part. The roster right now for the Titans, I think everybody believes, is capable of making a playoff appearance. I mean, there are guys on this team with rings. There are guys on this team with Super Bowl trips. So the Titans have to get there first. But if Will Levis is able to hit that ceiling, then the Titans are in business like those other quarterbacks you just mentioned and those other teams that fell short in the Super Bowl, but we're still able to make a run, to get to the big game.
Yep, no doubt. All right, Jack. It's time for good news. If you've got this good news, send it in the chat so we can share your good news this week. And then I'm going to have to eat a spoonful of mayonnaise because the magic bucket told me to do that. So let's get some good news. Shout out to our Friday good news partner this summer, Good Gravy, the coaster at Holiday World and Splash Safari. So every day is a holiday up there at Santa Claus, Indiana. The holiday-themed park, Holiday World and Splash Safari, just 2 hours north of Nashville. And they've just opened their Thanksgiving roller coaster called Good Gravy for the whole family. So go check that out, whether it's grandma, grandkids, parents, everybody can go on Good Gravy's coaster and enjoy that Thanksgiving-themed ride at Holiday World Splash Safari. HolidayWorld.com is where to get your tickets this summer. So, Jack, I will let you start to read some good news, and then I have to go get something out of the fridge.
You do.
Shortly, because I'm glad I didn't leave it here because it has been an hour and 1 minute. And that would have been bad to have real mayonnaise sitting next to me out of the fridge for over an hour. So I will be right back.
All right, go fetch that mayonnaise. Chad, I was actually telling Austin that it might be better to have the lukewarm mayonnaise because it'll go down quicker, right? The cold maybe makes it a little bit thicker. I don't know. That's mayonnaise talk. Okay, good news. Jeff Rubel, Euros start today. Bet on France and Mbappe to win. Top goal scorer plus 1,200. I've got some friends very excited about the Euros today. I'll try and watch as many games as I can. Not a huge soccer guy, but obviously the biggest tournament outside of the World Cup. Good news. Today is a golf day from Titans, Kyle. That is very good news. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers this Sunday. Denise, great call there. That's great news. Happy Father's Day to everybody. Good news. Rodgers and New York panicking. We might be 2-0 week 3. Where's Rodgers? This is every offseason. The Jets knew what they signed up for here. Nobody knows where Aaron Rodgers. Where in the world is Aaron Rodgers? It should be a new segment. Good news. We've had Jack a lot lately. He's been amazing and great to hear so much from him. Austin, this is not my burner account. Thank you, Stephen King. Good news. We went the whole show without Frazier mentioning Burks. It is nice to have a show not revolved around Treylon Burks. We've had so many of those this offseason. This is a fresh topic. I think we had a lot of fun today. Good news. The Jags wasted a ton of money. That's how I'm feeling, Justin Lowry. Love that. Father's Day weekend, and Denise is smoking a turkey. We've got good news. My 2 oldest sons are planning on taking me out for Father's Day. First time that's happened where I'm not paying, LOL. I'm excited for that. Treat yourself, Danny Whitson. Don't take it easy on him either with that check. Get dessert. Get some drinks. Let's see. Austin. No, that's not good news. Any more? We've got good news. My divorce is finalized. All right, Ed Champ. Turning the page, baby. New starting job. Got the email stating I got the job. Congratulations, Andrew. Applied 4 times. Finally in 50K raise, pension, full benefits, and a baby boy coming this October. The universe just has a funny way of making things happen. The stars are aligning.
Raise. Good Lord.
Stars are aligning for Andrew Brown. Congratulations. Good news. The Jags are going to be mid until 2029. All right, let's get to Austin's bad news here. You ready for the mayonnaise? I'll give my good news first. And strike one more. Good news. Leaves for Iowa. Just purchased land in the Manzano Mountains.
Go back to strikes.
Okay.
It is the first ever Iowa vacation I've ever heard of.
What's going on in Iowa? Trike, follow up with us. My good news today, I'm going to be playing golf a little bit later. Don't play a whole lot of golf. Golf's not my game. I'm not patient enough for it. But going to be doing that around 4 o'clock today. So going to get some work done, boss man. Don't you worry about me checking out early today. But I will be playing golf around 4 o'clock. Going to go down to Franklin, play a quick 9 with my brothers. Got 2 younger brothers. None of us are any good at golf. So it could take anywhere from an hour and a half to 3 hours because of all the balls we're going to have to be chasing. So that's my good news today. Going to get out and play a little golf. Going to touch some grass.
Yeah. I mean, my good news is that this is about to be over, and my stomach has been churning for a while. Every time I've thought about this, and now that I'm holding the mayonnaise in my hand, my stomach feels awful. My throat is like closing up. I don't want to do this at all.
That's just too damn bad. That's too damn bad, Austin. Load that spoon up, baby. This is going to be bad. Here we go.
Got to make sure you get the mayonnaise down here so I don't squirt it everywhere all over.
Yeah, put the mayonnaise next to the microphone when you squirt it. It's all about the noise.
Oh, it actually didn't make any noise.
Oh, it's disappointing.
Is that enough?
Yeah, definitely.
Oh.
There it is. Come on now. Here comes the airplane. You got to just rip the Band-Aid. Go ahead.
The smell.
You can't pinch your nose. No nose pinching. You got to take this thing straight.
See, what can I be thinking about?
I don't know. There's anything that can help you here. Eric brings up a good point. I will probably have to do this at some point too. But you know what? Not today.
Potato salad. Yeah. I have a chaser. I eat mayonnaise. But not like this much ever on anything.
Come on now, big girl. You got this.
That's offensive to girls. Oh, that wasn't that bad.
No. Good mayonnaise isn't bad.
It smelled way worse.
All right. Painless, right?
That wasn't too bad. The smell was worse.
Well, okay. Look at that. All that drama for nothing. We all survived.
Yeah, we did.
Good job, Austin. I'm proud of you. I know that the aftertaste is probably not any good, but
real.
Ad. Hashtag ad.
Yeah, and Shrike says I was being dramatic. The smell got me.
Yeah, you know what? And Jonathan says the mind games are the worst. I think having 24 hours to think about it probably put a lot of demons up in your head.
The smell was awful. I like the gag that I did when I smelled it was real. Like, I just want you to know that was real. The gag was awful.
Yeah, what's the expiration date on that mayonnaise? Can you check it real quick?
It's new. It's new. Best if used by, that's not a date. August 14th of 24. So it's recent. Get a small container, you go through it.
Nice. Good job. Yeah, and the chat's on my head right now. Jack, you better be careful now. Jack's enjoying it a little too much.
What comes around goes around.
I'm nice to see you handled it like a pro though, because that makes me a little less worried when
now we'll see if it's just all I have on my stomach this morning is just that much mayonnaise. That's the hard thing. So all right. Whew, that's that. So hope everybody has a great weekend. Like the show before you leave out of here. Hope everybody has a great Father's Day weekend. So hit that like button on Facebook and on YouTube. And now I'm starting to feel like I'm getting the burps. So that'll be it for us. Oh man. Okay, we'll be back Monday morning for the show to see what the offseason holds there, and we'll catch you guys later on next week on Monday. Appreciate it as always. Have a safe weekend. Talk to you soon.
Tighten up pod out now.